Hello, YouTube. How wonderful to be here again. I'm very glad that you've decided to come and spend some of your valuable time with me today. Hopefully it will be a worthwhile experience as we go through Deliriums. We had a quest from Elder Madox who asked us to kill 5 Delirium Bosses, and that's exactly what we're doing. I said at the beginning of this series, I read a lot about the patch notes and the notes that they put out at the beginning of the season. And I said that during my playthrough, what I would do is revisit those notes and do so in context so that they can be explained whilst I'm doing what because reading the patch notes in isolation really is an abstract kind of experience. You have nothing to hang your hat on. It's just basically words. So what I decided to do was to revisit those patch notes, not just with 0, spot 5, spot 0, but also spot 1, spot 2, spot 3, and so on, and compile the list of the changes that they've made to Delirium, and exactly what a Delirium is, what it isn't, and so on. What I haven't done in this is to go through simulacrums or to go through grand mirrors and how to actually have that on an area, simply because I'm not there yet. And as soon as I am there, that's when I'll start talking about that stuff. I hope that makes sense. So with all of that in mind, I've made some notes, and I hope you'll forgive me. This isn't entirely spontaneous. I had to make some notes. Retaining a lot of information isn't, as some of you all know, I have some brain issues. So it's it'll be me reading from some notes that I've derived from Grinding Gear Games patch notes themselves, or from notes that I've found on Maxroll or on other web resources, and from the Path of Exile 2 website. So all of this comes from sources far more knowledgeable and expert than myself, and it will have some gaps filled in by my own personal experience. So hopefully at the end of this series of short little vignettes, the 5 kills and our quest hand in, hopefully we'll have explained Deliriums, and people will be a little bit less confused about exactly what they are. And then once the sorry, I've got Tuxedo Cat making a big fuss at the moment. Once I progress through the Delirium scenarios, and we get deeper and deeper into the whole Delirium thing, and we start being able to go, you know, to because I believe there's a separate area, like a mini zone that you can go to and all this kind of thing. But once that starts becoming an issue, I'll then go into a little bit more detail about it and explain it, but I'll explain it while doing. So, with all of that in mind, I'd like to turn to my notes, and it's probably a good place to start, where it says running Delirium maps, and this is from the release notes for this season. New storyline. An ancient trickster god has been unleashed, spreading madness across Rayclast. Do you dare uncover his origins and confront your darkest fears? There is now a hub area called the Withered Willow for Delirium to the southwest of your starting location on the Atlas. The maps around this location all contain Deliriums and give you points for the Delirium Atlas passive tree. The Delirium Atlas passive tree has been completely revamped with many new nodes and existing nodes changed. After breaking a Delirium mirror, there is now a progress bar showing how deep you are in the fog and how long you have until the fog clears. The start of the Delirium bar represents your initial location at the Delirium mirror. The end of the Delirium bar represents the location of the map boss. I've found what works for me is obviously not going to work for everybody. It's not going to suit everybody. But what I've found that works for me is that I'll clear an area. I'll clear it right the way up to the boss. Don't do the boss, but clear it up to the boss and then go back to the Delirium mirror and kick the Delirium mirror off, and then walk your way through all the mirrors, the shards and everything, trigger everything off as you get to the mirror, and then kill the boss, the normal area boss within the fog of Delirium. And that way I've found works for me. Other people with different specs and different abilities and different levels of good will obviously have different ways of doing it, but that's what I've found that works for me. So once I've cleared up to that level, I will trigger the Delirium, and then we'll work our way through what the Delirium gauge is telling us, because there will be a gauge on the bottom of the screen. The Delirium bar, they call it at GGG. Yeah, and I'm back with my obsession with pots. After I picked a divine orb out of a pot last weekend, I'm back on my pot obsession.
Pack's heavy enough already.
And no, YouTube, not that kind of pot obsession. I should probably say urn obsession. Oh, talking of YouTube, please consider like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, all that good stuff. Thank you very much.
I'm full up.
So here we are in map number 2. And you see the big delirium at the beginning. We'll wipe this zone out, and then as soon as we do, I'll come back and I'll kick that off, and then we'll run through this delirium. I didn't do it last time round because for some reason, when I killed the Candlemas mob at the end, I got a completion of the quest, so there was no point. So I had to go back and check and see what went wrong. It wasn't what went wrong, it was like what went right, and then I killed the boss and the quest ticked over. So I don't know what was going on there. So yeah, this is the, of course, Aelith, or Aelith. She's the woman who you have to see about breaches. Elder Madox is the guy that you have to go and see at the Weeping Willow, at the Withered Willow, to do this stuff. So this was, I think this was either an 8 or a 9, a waystone, level 8 or 9. I can't remember. It wasn't juiced in any way, but I think it was a yellow.
Good timing. The spirit is near. Aye, back again, eh?
I got this. I'll tell you what. I did a little bit of leveling off camera a couple of days ago, and I noticed. I got into the zone, and I was in the zone for like about 30 seconds, and I got mobbed by like 2 or 3 packs of rabid dogs, and they chewed me up in seconds, and I was just brown breaded there and then. Just it was over and done with, and they were teabagging me and everything. It was really embarrassing. But yeah, several packs of, and there's like 6 or 8 in a pack, and you've got 3 or 4 packs coming out of you out of a field as you walk down, and it's like, you know, a couple of them hit you, you get, I don't say stunned, but you get some kind of movement lock, and then you get, you know, you get knocked over, and, you know, I mean, it was just all over. And I didn't even know that I didn't even know that there were packs of rabid dogs. So it makes you a little bit more cautious. So I've kind of starting to moderate or modify the way that I play a little bit. by trying to project my abilities a little bit further down the line, rather than dealing with the mobs that are around me after pulling. What I tend to try and do is to cast as far forward as I possibly can. Obviously there's mobs like them blue ones there, those crab things, the giant prawns. You have to trigger them. So obviously it doesn't work with every mob, but it works with enough of them, and I tried to project and I tried to cast as far forward as I possibly can.
I'm full up.
So that when the mobs are pulled, they're being pulled into spell spam. And I have pretty much made the transition from armor and energy shield to pure energy shield now. I need to respec a few little things on the tree, my skill tree. I need to change a few things over on my, spec out of armor evasion and energy shield into pure energy shield. There's a couple of nodes that I can swap around. And that, I think, is the boss arena. Feels very boss arena-y to me. Yeah, my DPS is okay. My defenses aren't quite where I would like them to be. And of course it's a very fine balancing act, isn't it? You want to level up so you can put points in abilities. But if you level up, if you run maps that are too high, you're gonna get killed and lose XP. And if you run them that are a little bit too low, or mitigate some of the risk of losing XP, it's going to take longer to achieve what you want to do. So it is a bit of a balance. Because I can run 11s now, I can run blue 11s all day. I do, however, increase the risk of me, losing XP by, losing HP. So I haven't really found a perfect sweet spot at the moment, although I expect that it's probably going to be yellow 8, blue 9, somewhere around there.
Hey, we went digging.
Maybe even a 10. Maybe yellow 9, blue 10. But again, it probably depends on the map as well. It probably depends on the waystone. And certainly depends on the boss. Because there are some bosses that are just so easy. And there are some bosses that are a pain in the backside. For some reason, the Balbala style boss, I have an issue with beating. It's always like there's always a question mark in the back of my head when I come across a Balbala style boss. And then there are other bosses like the Vorik the Engineer kind of boss. There's just like, yeah, whatever. Right. And then there are a lot that are in between.
I'm full up.
It's funny, I bought myself a stash tab for uniques, and I've managed to gather quite a lot of uniques, and it's amazing how worthless most of them are. Seriously, it's like it's just so rubbish. I mean, I was in Stitches the other day. I got this one, and I thought, oh, that looks interesting stats and interesting thing. And then I had to look to see how much it sold for, and I was just laughing my ass off. Let's just say it doesn't sell for very much. Right, here we go. We kicked the mirror off now. You see the fog, right? So, after breaking a Delirium mirror, there is now a progress bar showing how deep you are in the fog. And you see that at the bottom. And how long you have until the fog clears. The start of the Delirium bar represents your initial location at the Delirium mirror, and the end of the Delirium bar represents the location of the map boss. So it's not a timer per se. The little diamond in it is you and your relation to the start and your relationship to the finishing point, which is the boss. There are now a set of new Delirium encounters that can be seen on the Delirium bar, and you'll see those with various little symbols on them. Most of them, quite rightly, have got question marks on them, which is like the look on my face most of the time is a question mark. Like, what? Reaching certain depths will cause colored mirror shards to appear, and walking into the mirror shards will break them, activating new encounters. Delirium shards on the bar now spawn when you get to the correct depth. Now, they changed. This is from the previous remark I made was from 0 spot 5 spot 0. Now they changed that slightly in 0 spot 5 spot 2, and the change now says delirium shards on the bar now spawn when you get to the correct depth as opposed to slightly earlier. They are also now placed better when spawning to be less likely to be directly on the player's location. So it's a conscious effort to walk through them rather than you have to walk through them. And see, it's a slightly different color, and so now we've got a named mob now. Delirium mirror shards spawned from hitting depth targets on the bar no longer persist after delirium encounters end, which is obviously a change they made in 0 spot 5 spot 2. The direction of the map boss can be observed by looking at the fog effect. So you have a look to see what direction the fog is moving in, and if you move in the direction of the fog, you will always head towards the map boss. And I've been so lucky because I've got another named map boss here, Kosis. So they were relatively easy to deal with. This is a note from patch 0 spot 5 spot 3. The scaling of Delirium Fog has been halved to make Delirium not as difficult when encountering it early in the endgame. To make up for this, Delirium tablets now scale the effect of the Delirium Fog when using multiple tablets, including maps with grand mirrors or those within fog banks. When using 3 Delirium tablets, the scaling will be at its previous value. So here we've got our encounter, and we've got a whole bunch of Delirium mobs have spawned in the boss room, which is always nice. So there you go. Defeat delirious map bosses.
Now death takes you.
So that's done. Alright, so we've got 5 of them to do, and we I think that's number 2. So logically, we then go on to number 3. And we'll do the same again. We'll leave the Delirium mirror as it is for now. We'll clear, and then we'll come back to it and kick it off, and then walk our way through to the boss. So I'll carry on with these notes if you don't mind. Now that we've done one from start to finish. It says the map bosses in Delirium will always be 100% delirious. The damage and life bonus given to monsters from Delirium has been reduced. And in 0 spot 5 spot 2, they said that they had halved the amount of toughness that unique enemies in the fog gain during Delirium encounters. And they again reduced the toughness scaling on specifically normal and magic monsters in Delirium to be identical to what a rare monster would have. And then again in 0 spot 5 spot 2 they said they'd halve the amount of increased damage that normal, magic and rare enemies in the fog gain during Delirium encounters. So basically they've nerfed Delirium because it was completely overpowered at the beginning of the season, particularly towards new accounts or towards new players. So on top of this, they've added 5 new elite Delirium monsters, and I believe we've just seen 2 of those. They've added a new sub-area called the Loathsome Mire, and in the Loathsome Mire, you can get 2 new amulet base types that grant 2 instilled notables at the cost of either -1 suffix or -1 prefix. You'll also notice that in Delirium encounters, certain items can drop called liquid emotions, and they are at different kind of levels of intensity. Liquid emotions can now be used to craft additional mods on jewels. These work similarly to greater essences, each having a set of specific mods that will replace a random existing mod on the item. They can also be used to create additional stats and abilities on amulets and stuff, but we'll get into that when we get to do the handover to, or the hand-in to Elder Madox, and we go and see him at the tree. He'll explain all of that, and then I'll explain as well from the notes. So I know that we haven't encountered one of these yet, but it's only a matter of time before we do. It says in the notes, completing Delirium Mirrors now has a chance to spawn Grand Mirrors on the Atlas on a nearby map. Grand Mirrors create a duplicate of the map boss in the affected map. Killing both map bosses will unlock a new Atlas mechanic, the Trial of Madness. After triggering the Trial of Madness, fog will spread from a map of your choosing on the Atlas, including a locked simulacrum. While inside the fog, the entire map is delirious, starting at 10%. Killing rare monsters and the map boss increases the deliriousness of all maps in the fog. On reaching 100%, the simulacrum will become available. Deliriousness can continue to be increased up to a level of 200%. Rare and unique monsters in Delirious maps have a set of new Delirious modifiers giving them strange new abilities. Well, we're not there yet, we're not doing those yet, so when we do, we'll get back to the explanations. Now, map bosses of Delirious maps can additionally drop a new set of 3 potent emotions that can be used to craft new powerful modifiers on jewels that are not available in the normal jewel mod pool. These emotions can also be used to instill a set of 16 new passive tree notables that are not normally available on the passive tree. And that we'll start to look at once we do the hand-in of these over with Elder Madox. It goes on to say Simulacrum has been updated and is now a 7-wave encounter. Well, we'll do that once we start doing simulacrums. And it says there is a new set of... Oh, completing the simulacrum will now give you a key to face the new Delirium Pinnacle boss. Well, like I said, we haven't done that yet. And there is new set of 10 ancient emotions that can drop if unlocked by the Atlas tree, which can be used to craft time-lost jewels. There are also 3 ancient potent emotions that can be used to craft new powerful modifiers on time-lost jewels that are not normally available in the mod pool. So the ancient emotions and ancient potent emotions seem like they might be quite handy to try and farm. And some non-amulet delirium uniques now drop with the Raven Touch modifier, allowing them to be instilled. Okay, so the rest of my notes are cover things that things like deliriums, simulacrums, fog maps, and all that kind of thing. Well, we haven't spread that yet. We haven't spread fog to other maps yet. We haven't done grand, the grand mirrors. We haven't encountered the apex predators or all that kind of thing. So once we do, I'll come back to these notes and we'll go through them there. So you'll see which direction the fog is actually traveling in, and all I'm doing is I'm wandering through the fog, following the direction, and just breaking the mirrors as they appear, killing the mobs, break the mirror, kill the mob, and follow the fog. At this point, it's really no more complicated than that. I must admit that there is at least the perception of complication around Delirium. There's an awful lot in it, and there are a lot of things in and around the whole Delirium encounter that that you can do. The whole thing about simulacrums, the whole thing about grand, the bigger mirrors, about the way that the fog can spread to other zones and so on. So there's a lot to it. So I can understand when people say that it can be a bit confusing. But for right now, what we're doing is we're following the fog, we're breaking the shards, we're killing the mobs, and then we're killing the bosses. We're getting the points, we're adding them to our point tree, and then we'll go and do a hand-in. That's really as complicated as this video is going to be.
and your damned delusions.
So I've also started work on Jado's series of quests. There's 3 of those. I've done the first one, and later on today I'm going for the second one. The second one is quite a few nodes away from where I am, so I'm going to have to work my way towards it. And that's the thing with these quests. It's like getting to the nodes that you can, that you need to complete in order to advance the quest. You could be having to kind of walk through 10, 12 nodes in order to get to the one node that you need to do in order to advance the quest series. It can be a little bit frustrating. It's like I have to go to Kaya Tarth to advance my druid's personal quest. Well, that's like 15 nodes away. And the way I play, that's probably a good 8 hours. Maybe even 9. just moving through, just moving across the map. Not even doing anything productive, just moving across the map for 9 hours to advance a quest. Just and it's to Kayatop, so it's probably narrative exposition rather than doing any fighting when you get there. I mean, I could be completely wrong. I've never been there, but I suspect it's going to be another quest hub. So we'll continue advancing the quests as best as we can, advancing the Doriani's Science and Jado Spycraft and Hilda's Beasts and all those lines, and getting to the quest lines that we haven't come across yet. So here we go. This is the boss encounter. Going to use the waypoint travel. Click on this, and then gonna run this mirror, and then get back up to the boss, and then kill the boss in the fog. So I think I'm starting to get a handle on Delirium. I think I understand pretty much what's going on as far as Abyssals is concerned. And also with rituals, I think I've got a pretty good idea of what's going on with rituals. One of the only ones that I've got an issue with, it's probably more of a me problem than anything, is breaches. I seem to have a bit of a problem stabilizing breaches, and I'm killing and killing and killing and killing and killing, and then all of a sudden the breach collapses and it's over. And I'm like, what happened? Here's one of those Delirium encounters. Oh, he didn't last long. Bye. Bye bye. Thank you for playing. And that was one of those. It was distilled liquid iron. That's a fairly common one. And of course, these liquid emotions, they're subject to the same, rules of you can put 3 in one of your in your upgrade bench, and then turn them into a higher quality of themselves. Oh shit. That was my bad, I wasn't paying attention.
I'll take it.
Darkness descends, and with it your end.
That was interesting. So this one's got a cleave and a whirlwind and some kind of fissure sort of thing.
This changes nothing.
That's yeah.
The mist.
Must be getting somewhere.
If you think I'm making no progress, lad, then more fool you.
Indeed. Scottish Druid. So I had to check, and the first encounter didn't actually count towards the quest total. It did, however, count towards the Delirium tree. It gave us a point to put into the tree. So it didn't, for some reason, it didn't count towards our quest goal, but it did give us what we needed for a point to put into the tree. So if you can make sense of that, then you are a much better man than me, because I can't work it out. We killed a map boss in a delirium, and the quest was kill delirium map bosses. It gave us a point. So, anyway, ho hum. Onwards and upwards. Let's not dwell too much on the inner workings of what isn't a proper encounter as far as quests and maps and stuff. Right, just move on. So here we are, moving on bigly. And again, we'll do this in the same way that's worked. Kill everything, trigger the delirium mirror, and then fast track to the boss, kill that, and then move on. And this is going to be the last one that we need before, this is to the boss encounter. This is going to be the last one we need before we then go to Elder Madox and his tree of, what was that in Conan? The Tree of Woe. Great movie. Thulsa Doom. James Earl Jones. Conan. The Librarian. Sorry, Barbarian. I tell you, if I gargled a liter of Jack Daniels mixed with gunpowder and smoked 4 packs of Marlboros, I couldn't get a voice like James Earl Jones. You see, contemplate this on the tree of woe.
Takes up fury.
So if anybody does like, and I have to admit I do like bass baritone singers, there is a guy called Tim Storms. He's a bass vocalist, and he has a take on Lonesome Road. It's available on YouTube, and it's astonishing, absolutely astonishing.
A druid knows the treble, right?
There's another one of the bass singers of TikTok. They did. See if I can find it. The bass singers of TikTok, they did a version of Hoist the Colors, which is absolutely fantastic. But this guy Tim Storms, he's the guy with the lowest voice, the lowest register voice in the world, and it's not so much being able to reach low notes. It's being able to modulate your voice and hold a tune at incredibly low registers. We're talking here like F#1 and below, which is significant.
That's heavy enough already.
So yeah, his name's Tim Storms. Lonesome Road on YouTube. I'll try to put a link in, and the same with the bass singers of TikTok. Their version of Hoist the Colors is fantastic. and there is a YouTube channel called Alpha Sound, where you'll find some of Tim Storm's material, and the comments on this are just hilarious. I mean, vocalists being able to hit G1 and F#1 with precision and control and modulation is just, it's incredible stuff. And I'm afraid he makes James Earl Jones look like a soprano. And not Tony Soprano either.
Can't I carry anymore?
Yeah, Scottish Druid. Go on. You've got permission. Yeah, so the plans for the next video will be let's see, will probably be getting to Kaya Tarth and seeing what is going on over there. And I also want to do a grand expedition at some time, but as I explained, I was told by somebody a couple of days ago that the best way to do the grand expeditions is wait until you are able to do fully juiced maps. Otherwise it's a waste of resources. If you can do, if you can do like a T12, 13, 14, whatever, and you can fully juice them, and then do a grand expedition, that would be better than just doing, a T9 map with very little to no juicing. So be a waste of resources. Because the amount that will drop, the amount of grand expedition excavation drop is astonishing. I've seen guys do 15s and 16s, or 14s and 15s, fully juiced up, and the screen is just full. It's just like full. Well, he's going down quite quickly. Darling, thanks for playing.
Keep prattling on about power. You'll see mine soon enough. Dead. The wild take hold!
This is a bloody maze.
Even strong.
Right. The last one before we do our hand in. Let's see what the Delirium has got in store for us this time round. Make it a good one, Raven Trickster. One can hope. I guess.
Nature takes what's old.
I wish they all spawned the yellow boss. Or mini boss at least.
Celebrates conquering a leaf.
Right. Du- 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 du, du- du- du. Du- 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 du, du- 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 du.
I didn't expect this to be simple, but time is against us. What have you learned?
Well, he's got a mouth on him, that one. But not the stones to say it to my face.
Either way, the Winter Owl believes you've begun to ruffle the Raven's feathers.
Yeah.
Are you following me, Elder? I'm flattered. Would you like to join my flock?
The Raven speaks. It appears we are on the right path. But what is this damn thing? One moment.
Very clever. You are a quick study.
My word, what am I seeing? Utter madness. Misery. Despair.
It's all right, Elder. I'm here. Just keep talking.
It seems this is a decanter of sorts, clarifying all manner of horrors within. into a kind of essence. I can see emotions swirling in the liquid.
Think I found just the same after my fight with the fog demons.
How curious. I've a thought. Take this, then approach the decanter. Place the amulet. Go on.
So essentially, by putting these emotions at various strengths into this machine, you can create the same effect as various notables on the passive tree will give you.
You shout in anger, but your voice comes out barely a whisper.
And so if you go to the passive tree, you can find the notables and then hit the Alt button, I think it is, and then it'll tell you exactly what the recipe for it, for that particular notable will be, if you want to have that on your amulet. And you don't have to have it. It doesn't have to be on your side of the tree. It's, you know, it gives you the opportunity to have a notable from a very long way away from where your skill lines are.
Rest sort out their fate.
Hold your tongue, Raven. Most ponderous indeed. The liquids, they are gone. Imbued upon the very amulet itself. Adorn it. Let us see what happens. The amulet reveals a story, a tale lost to time and delirium. This tale's ending, it may not be to your liking. I suspect the selection and arrangement of emotions is important to the story. Keep your eyes sharp for these liquid emotions from the fog demons. Perhaps they will aid us on the journey. Now, I must tell you, the winter hour has shown me. The Raven's curse spreads. Here, his curse grows heavier. Go, observe. But you must be strong, and do not listen to the Raven trickster's words. Be steadfast.
So what I think I'll do is I'll include a link to I'll find a suitably informative website or something that has all of these recipes on them, and I'll include a link to it in the description of this video. I think that'll probably be helpful. So then you can have a look to see if you've got some of these dotting about in a bag somewhere. You can have a look and see what's what. Right then, everybody, I think this is a good point to call it a day. Thank you ever so much. It's been a bit of a long one. So I will see you tomorrow. Thanks, everyone. Take care.